All right, Blue Group. This is Miss Ballish, and this is for our Blue Group menu for Test 4-2. So today you took Test 4-1, today being Friday for me, and this should be Monday when you're listening to this fabulous recording. And you guys have 3 weeks to complete the menu. Here's our due date of February 11th. That is the date for test 4-2. So everything is going to be due by then. All right. So I'm going to go through the menu. That way you know exactly what you're supposed to do, and hopefully you don't have any questions for your teacher. Notice it says to choose at least 3 different choice board assignments to get 100 points. So depending on what you pick, like there is a 40 down here, you can pick 3 to equal 100. You may need to pick more than that, okay? I'm just going to go in order here, okay? The first activity is called Linear Battlefield, okay? What that is it tells you that each page is worth 8 points. There's a game in the back that's worth 6 points, so this is worth a total of 30 points, all right? You can read through here, but basically it's telling you where the tank is and that you need to plot lines, and it says to write the equation for each line in the target below, okay? On the next page, similar, it says that before the restored tank can join the force, a trail is being mapped out. There are 8 bases. It says you can assume that the nearest integer ordered pair is the location of the base. The tank will begin the tour at -10, so that's while it's here. So they're going to go from here to base 1 and then to base 2 down here. Okay, and so then what it says is sketch the lines on the coordinate plane and then to determine the equations that match the path, okay? So from start to 1, you would draw a line and then you would write the equation for that line. Then you're going to go from 1 to 2 and draw a line and then write the equation that matches that line, okay? The next one, there's an obstacle course here. It says that you're going to start at -10, -10, which is where the tank is, and you have to get to the point -10, 10, -10, 10, which you can see up here. It says finish, without bumping any hazards. All right. You will accomplish this by drawing line segments. The tank must stop and start each time on integer coordinates, meaning you can't stop in the middle of a box. Okay. It needs to be on an actual coordinate where the lines are going to cross each other. Clearly mark your starting and stopping points with a thick dot. Construct lines. Please use a ruler to show us your lines, and then write the equations for the lines to get there. Okay, and again, remember you can't touch any of these things to get there. All right, you may not need all of the steps. Okay, it just says how many lines will you need. You don't know. You may need all of them, you may not need all of them. It just kind of depends on how you do it. Okay. Okay, this is a game that you're going to play. So your partner does not have to be someone that has also picked this activity. You could just grab a partner to play the game. Okay, so just read through here. It tells you what to do, but you need to say my lines, my opponent's lines on here, and this is worth 6. I'm sorry, this page is worth 6 points. 6 points. Let me make sure I said that right. Yes. So each page, regular page, is worth 8 points, and then the game is worth 6 points, so that's a total of 30 points. Okay? Okay, going back to the menu, the next thing we're going to talk about is the COP mini project. COP stands for constant of proportionality, if you didn't know that already, and this is worth 20 points. Okay, let's make that a little smaller. All right, this is a mini project, okay, and you can see kind of what it's going to look like. But basically what you're going to do is write a story or a word problem that represents a proportional relationship. If you're not exactly sure what a proportional relationship is, and you might want to Google that so that you understand how to make up your own word problem that would be a proportional relationship, okay? You need to write the constant of proportionality, you need to write an equation, make a table, make a graph, and then make a poster. Here's the rubric for how you're going to be graded. Again, this is out of 20 points. And then I put in some examples of past ones. Please don't obviously copy these or even use these as inspiration, but just showing you kind of what we're looking for in terms of neatness and completion, okay? And this is worth 20 points. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about open middle. So those of you that are new to Blue Group, I'm going to go ahead and go through this. I know I've got some new people to Blue Group. And if you're not new, it's been a while, so let's go ahead and go over these directions, okay? There are 5 activities in here. You need to complete all 5 activities, and that would be worth 15 points. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of them to complete this student recording sheet, okay? So let me just go through these really quick. Exponents in order of operations, it says to find 3 positive integers that add up to 10. Place each number into one of these blanks to find the largest possible result. So that means you're going to have to do a little guess and check work. And also, you can use the number tiles if you want, but it doesn't say that they can't be repeating. So unlike the number tiles where we only have 1. Okay, we've got order of operations. This time it's very specific. Make the largest or smallest expression by using the digits 0 through 9 no more than 1 time each in the boxes below. See, the other one didn't specify, so you could use them more than once, okay? Here's another one that's about order of operations, and again 0 through 9 at most 1 time each, so that each one is simplified to a different odd number. So you can see how there's just, like I said, different criteria being placed on here. Now they want you to only use the digits 1 through 5 at most 1 time each to create an expression with the largest possible value. Okay, so make sure that you're paying attention to those things. Prime factorization using the digits 0 through 9 to make the greatest possible product. All right. This is the recording sheet. So what you're going to do is pick one of the activities. It doesn't even matter. I'm just going to pick this one because it's closest for me. And it says first attempt. So what that means is, what did you do first? The very first time, what did you do first? What were your numbers? Okay. And I'm sure it's not going to work the first time. Okay. So we want you to write, what did you learn from this attempt? How will you change your strategy? Maybe you realized that your first attempt, the numbers, it was too small. Or maybe another one, it didn't satisfy the criteria that it was an odd answer. Okay, whatever. Then you try it again. So you write down your second attempt on that same one that you're doing, that you're talking about. Okay, so you'll need to tell us on prime factorization 2, or whichever one that it is you're talking about. All right. And you may not need all 6 attempts. You may have gotten it on the second or the third or the fourth. It doesn't really matter, but we want you to get writing here and telling us how you changed your thinking, okay? And again, all of that is worth 20 points, okay? Linear equations art project. You're going to create a drawing here. Okay. This is the front page that explains all the directions. All right. It says you're going to be drawing a picture on graph paper using a minimum of 5 straight lines. So that means you could have 5 or more. They have to be straight. You need to choose 5 lines. So if you end up with more, you need to just pick 5. You're going to label each one slope and use the formula. Then on a separate piece of paper, you have to do all of these things. There's a list here. Okay, so here's a checklist for you. Here's how you're going to be graded. 5 lines, numbered, 5 points. The equation for each one is 20 points. Neatness and creativity is another 5 points for a total of 30 points, okay? So you're going to see that you need a piece of graph paper, okay? And then I put some examples in here. So notice it's just like a little robot girl, but notice that, see how the lines, line 1, line 2, line 3, she's telling you what the slope is, what the b is, so that you can get y equals or whatever. Okay, up here, undefined. All right, here's another, and see, these are her, this is her paper with all of this written on it. That's what we're looking for. Okay, here's another example. Obviously this lion has way more than 5 lines, and that's okay. You just need to make sure that you label it. Like, so here's like line 1. I can see line 3. You just want to make sure you label it so that we know which ones you're doing so we can check you correctly. All right? But be creative. Do something good. Write neatly, please. All right? Next one, we're going to talk about 24. Some of you, I think, have played the game 24 before. I really like it. I think it's fun, but I'm all about puzzles and nerd games personally. This is called 24, so let me make it a little bigger. All right. There are 3 levels of cards, 1, 2, and 3. So you can see in my example, there's a 1 dot, here's a 3 dot, okay? Some of them have positive, all positive numbers, and some of them are mixed up with negatives as well. But what you're going to do is, it says to solve 10 cards, all right? So you're going to choose 10 different ones, okay? I would like for you to do at least 2 of each level. So at least 2, level 1, level 2, level 3. So obviously that leaves 4 left over for you to play with that you can do at whatever kind. Please make sure at least 2 of those have negatives, okay? Don't pick just all positives, all right? So let me show you how to do it, all right? On level 1, you're going to record, there's a recording sheet, by the way. You would record the digits on the card and then write the equation here. You would level 1, okay? So the digits on the card would be 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? There are many solutions, all right? Here's just one of them, though. If you do 3 times 2, that's 6. And then 6 times 4 is 24. And then 24 times 1 is still 24, right? But then we want you to write that as all one equation. You could just write that like this. 2 times 3 times 4 times 1 equals 24. Yeah? Easy. Like I said, there's more than one way to do this, okay? Now let's look at this level 3. By the way, this one with the red dot inside of it, that is a 9 versus this one down here is a 6. Okay, if you'll think about the red square in the middle as being kind of the bottom, you see how that 2 is written like that, then that should help you just distinguish between the 9 and the 6. All right. So one solution for this would be to go 9 times 2, which is 18, then subtract 6 to get 12, and then times 2. Right, which would be 24. But you need to be careful because look at the equation. The equation would actually be 9 times 2 in parentheses minus 6, all of that in parentheses, times 2. Okay, so that one used a double parentheses, so you just need to be really careful after you write it out. My advice would be after you write out the equation, you know, just work it as if you had never seen it before, or maybe even ask a friend to work your equation the way you wrote it to make sure that it works, okay? But anyway, that's 24, so really you're doing this 10 times. This is worth 20 points total, all right? Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is number tiles, and again, those of you that have been in Blue Group, you've seen number tiles before, but it's going to be on a different topic. This is worth 30 points. Okay. You're going to complete 15 out of the 20 pages that I'm going to show you. 15 out of 20. All right. Then you're also, and that's worth 25 points. Then you're also going to choose one of the pages to do a writing prompt about. How did you go about completing that page? Here's some sentence stems to get you started. Again, we just want to know, you know, I started here first, then I decided to do this, whatever. That's worth 30 points. Okay. The way these look, these are exponent tiles, so we're going to practice using exponents, all right? You're going to use the number tiles, 0 through 9. They should be in a little plastic container. Please make sure you keep up with these, all right? But you go through, and this would be tile page number 1. You work through it. You got to figure out which way, and then double check it, all right? You only are going to use each digit once. It only has a home. There will be a recording sheet when we print this for you that'll be like 4 to a page. So that way you can record your answers for the teacher. So when you turn this in, you're going to turn in a whole packet, this plus the rubric, okay? The next thing is called Break the Code, and this is the sheet that you're going to get for your rubric. You will scan a QR code and it's going to send you to a link to a Google Drive where you will make a copy, and I'll show you that in just a second, where you're going to make a copy in your own Google Drive. So, okay, so here it is in my Google Drive. Let me hit the present slideshow. Okay, so you can see what you're trying to do here is use some algebraic thinking to solve for these unknown amounts, all right? Once you figure them out, you're going to type in over here those unknown amounts and also here, all right? I think there's 4 different pages of these if I'm not mistaken. Okay, you can go in any order, it doesn't matter, but you're typing them in. As you're working, you're probably going to need some scratch paper. See, you're going to show your work on notebook paper. So there are 4 pages inside of the Google slide. That's worth 16 points. Showing your work on notebook paper is going to be worth 4 points. So let's go back to here for just a second. So if I were you, on my paper, I might write yellow paw print and then do the work for that one. Pink bird, right? Yellow moon, something like that, just so that we can know what work goes with what, okay? And again, this is the breaking the code, and it's worth 20 points. Again, you'll scan this QR code so that it'll make a copy inside your Google Drive. All right. The last thing is the COP road trip project. This is the only one worth 40 points, and I think you'll see why in just a second. It's a little bit more lengthy than the others, but basically you are planning, these two kids are driving in a convertible across Colorado, and they have to answer these questions. And it covers a lot of different things, you'll see. The first one is talking about map scales. So you're going to want to read, pay attention. There's a little bit of math to do. You're going to figure out how far it is and use proportions, things we know how to do, I hope. Percent proportions. See, it's pulling back some old stuff in here. All right. Unit rate. We talked about unit rate, I think, right before Christmas break, if I'm not mistaken. Unit rate. All right. And then we get into constant proportionality, which is what we're focusing on right now. So getting into your independent and your dependent variable, your linear equations, the tables, making a graph. So everything is in here that you need. And then there's answering some questions about that, talking about a non-proportional relationship. And so like I said, that's why this one's worth 40 points, because it's a little bit more lengthy. There are 18 actual problems in here, so that's going to be worth 2 points each for 36 points. And then of course, neatness graphic, that's 4 points, like you've got some neatness in here. Okay, so that is the end of the blue group explanations. The next thing you'll do is figure out what you want to work on, or at least what you want to start with. Tell your teacher so that she can make you your own copies for this. And again, all due February 11th. If you have any questions, be sure and ask your teacher.